Yep, gotta kick that one up. Huh? No, he's fine. There's nobody watching. It's just me sitting here. Do you mind pulling it up and seeing if it's looks okay? Just for so I can know. I think you just go to YouTube and search my name, basically. So, still waiting. No viewers. No one's even like liked the posts on Facebook except for like one. So there may not be anybody to watch, which means I'm talking to myself for no reason. So, just kind of hanging out, waiting. I have a weird like. I do. Wow, what's going on there? There we go. That looks better. Me? Do you see it on there? Ah, okay. Still 0 viewers. Wonder if I adjust the camera down just slightly. Good. Nobody still. Oh, 2 viewers now. Look at me, big time balling. um, oh, sign into chat's not working there. Let's try this. All right, I'm gonna type in the chat just to try to test it out here. So hopefully everybody can see that I just typed test in the chat. Were you able to get onto it?
There's a 30-second delay.
Well, there will be a delay. I mean, that's part of it. Yeah, there is going to be a delay from the time I talk until it's actually live, I suppose. I've got my wife in the other room on the computer. She's pulling it up and just kind of making sure it looks okay, that it sounds all right. 0 viewers now. Oh yeah, interesting. Sounds okay. Looks okay. Yeah. Does it say anything about like people watching on yours? No. Yeah, because for me it says I'm back down to 0 viewers over here. So sign into chat. I'm gonna have to, if I'm typing in chat, I'm gonna have to do it through a separate window. So still kind of hanging out and waiting for people because there's no one. This may be a total flop. 1 viewer. I've been sitting here for like 15 minutes now, just waiting. And I'd hate to start on it with 1 person watching, and I think that 1 person's just my wife in the other room. So gotta wait a little longer here and see how this goes. Just in case you're not my wife. It's weird talking to people. Are you taking pictures of me on your screen? So see if anybody's liked or commented on my posts here. It's really weird. I gotta keep looking at the camera. I gotta get myself used to talking directly into it as opposed to looking at my screen. And I'm still betting that one viewer is my wife. Are you logged in over there by chance? Do you mind like putting a comment just so I can see if it's functioning? Because I can see mine, but I'm assuming it wouldn't. You know what I mean? I just want to see if it works. Let's see what happens if I switch it over to this view. Maybe this one will get people's attention if they come in here. The audio's still up. I may need to kick it up just a hair. And oh man, that's kind of funky, isn't it? Let's see here. Cooperate. It's good enough. That'll work. Yeah, good enough. Comment. I can see it. Look at that. Now the only two people who've made a comment are me and you, and it has the same last name. Oh, this is great. So, all these people talking about wanting to see this stuff, no one's around for it. Hanging out, still waiting. Nobody's talking. Nobody's present. Oh, got another viewer now, which is probably my child in the other room who I sent the link to. Let's see. Ow. If you're not my child, leave a comment. Let me know who you are. Oh, a third. Maybe it's actually picking up a little bit here. All right, we'll give this another couple minutes, see if it holds, and then jump into this Order of the Solar Temple Cult. How long of a delay do you think it is?
I counted and it just about 30 seconds.
Like a full 30 seconds, you think? All right, the 30-second delay, roughly. Probably have to take my time a little bit and leave some areas that are built in that people can comment if there's areas of questions or anything I want to jump too far ahead. So kind of got to work on pacing, I suppose. All right, we're up to 4 people. Nice. So I'm looking at the time on the stream cam here. It's right at 22 minutes, so I'm going to go until 25, which is like 3 more minutes, and then start, just to give a little bit more time for people if they wanted to jump in and join. So, small talk in the meantime. um, I'm not good at making small talk with a camera, so this is new. Um, this is live, so my child is in the background, and I'm sure he will jump up and make sounds at some point, so you're going to hear him. And I lost 2 people, so we'll still start at 25, which is 2 minutes now. Oh, that probably sounds great. Coughing into the microphone over here. Let's see if I can adjust this a little bit. And pull that back up. I don't think I need that up unless I'm actually typing, so I'll leave that down. Just playing with all my settings here, making sure everything works good. And I said I'll give about 1 more minute just to give people a chance if they're going to come. Check and see if anybody's commenting or looks like it keeps jumping on focus, which is weird. All right, close enough. We'll go ahead and start up here. So, brief little background on it. My wife loves murder podcasts, and she used to get home from work real late, so I would like piece together stories for her a couple times and read them to her and give her like a live podcast experience. And I was reading about some different things and found this particular cult, the Order of the Solar Temple. Thought the story was pretty interesting, and wanted to put together another thing like this. I've got this streaming setup, so I figured it'd be kind of fun and neat to do it this way. And so I think she's in the other room watching it as I'm doing this live, as opposed to me just reading it to her face to face, which will be different. But go ahead and jump in. I put together like a PowerPoint essentially, which is going to be funny because it's a PowerPoint. But there we go. Maybe. There we go. So the cult was founded in France in 1984, and it was by a guy named Luc Jarret, who was a homeopathic doctor, kind of one of those weird new agey science kind of guys, and he was like a lecturer for the group. He would go out and do public speaking. And Joseph de Mombro, who was Just a weird cat. We're going to find out later. Um, they had their headquarters in Zurich, where they had a leadership council with 33 people. They had regional lodges set up all over the country in France. They had them in Canada, a couple other places. Um, just, well, Switzerland, Canada. I'm kind of reading off my notes and going off memory at the same time here. So putting up information for people to read and give myself reminder notes as I'm going through it. So moving on to the next slide here. Um, they thought that they were like the Knights Templar, which, old school um, military papal thing. Um, After the French Revolution, this dude kind of like revived the organization, claimed he was the head of it, and tried to recreate the order. And it kind of split up all over the place in a bunch of different groups. And these guys were kind of one of those groups. That's the way they viewed themselves, was like a new wing of the Knights Templar. The Mambro, this guy, real weirdo. Born in rural France, didn't go to college. He was like a clockmaker, a jewelry maker, fairly well off, kind of a smart guy. Um, Always was into occult stuff. He was in several different like occult orders. Let's see, the Ancient and Mystical Order of the Rosicrucians was one of the big ones. A couple other different groups. He was one of those Rosicrucian guys for almost 30 years. In and out of a couple different cults. And in 1970, he gave up his career and became a full-time lecturer in the New Age movement. Founded a couple different, yeah, getting real serious here. Founded a couple different things, met up with these other people, joined a bunch of different ones, and you can read about him on here. Bunch of different cults, and then when he was in Geneva, he started working as a teacher a little bit, presented himself to this group, the Great White Brotherhood, which they thought that they were evolved beings and would like push evolution of the human race. He claimed that he was a reincarnated version of like a bunch of different famous people throughout history, like Moses, Egyptian pharaohs. I think he even claimed that he was Jesus at one point to a couple different people. I'm not sure I've talked this much at once in a while, so bear with me. This is the other guy who was kind of the big wig and founder of this group, Luc Jouret. Born in the 40s in Africa. His Belgian parents went back to their homes in the 50s. He studied in Brussels. Dude was a doctor, like an actual doctor. And kind of what gave him some credibility when he would go out and do speaking arrangements and talk about this group. He's a doctor. He knows what he's talking about. And joined the Belgian army, traveled around, fought in a couple different, excuse me, couple different excursions. After his time in the army, he studied homeopathy, kind of like the other guy. Became a full-time practitioner in France, traveled around the world studying different spiritual healing things. Went to the Philippines, China, Peru, India, and early 80s ended up settling down in France, which is where this other guy was. I can't recall his name now. He went around and lectured about paranormal crap and holistic health, and had like a club with people, the Amenta Club, which down here, and it was like a tier of people they would call in the cult was the Amenta tier, which was kind of the lower tier. It was the people that he would preach to and go around and give these speaking engagements to, and they would push the material to other people and spread it, try to make it more widely seen. One of the groups he lectured for, the Golden Way Foundation, was a New Age group in Switzerland. Became friends with one of the leaders of that group, Joseph DeMambro, the guy from earlier. Together, they kind of joined together, bounced around in a couple different cults, talked about different ideas they had together, and they discovered they were kind of in the same weirdo path. And by 1984, they founded the Solar Temple. At that point, Giraud was traveling around a lot, doing a lot of speaking, was like the voice and the forward view of the cult for everyone else, whereas DeMambro was kind of like behind the scenes, pulling strings, doing weird stuff. The Imanta, back to that organization that funded and promoted his lectures. They would set up speaking engagements for him, like I was saying, and they would, help him out. The mayor of one of the universities they would go to, they advertised his speeches as Luc Giraud, physician, love and biology. Sounds innocent enough, but he was talking about environmental disasters, volcanoes erupting, end of the world, apocalyptic kind of stuff, trying to scare people and pull them in. Daunting language here. At the early stage of the cult, there appeared to be no indication that the group wished to leave the planet, but they had some weird ideas that you guys are going to see coming up. The people that had been around for a while, the ones that were really bought in, they really thought they were like Knight Templars in previous lives, and they followed like real strict, weird rules. They thought they were going to reincarnate and circle like another planet around the star, or the planet Sirius. Like they were way out there. Dude thought he was a reincarnation of Jesus for a while. Told that to kind of like the higher ranking members, and they all kind of bought into it. They kind of bounced around with their ideologies a bit, from Neo-Templarism, some New Age philosophy, Christianity, survivalist paranoia. They were kind of bounced around, had people constantly thinking different stuff and couldn't decide what they wanted to do. Sorry. Giraud, the like face of the cult, he really kind of got some weird sexual stuff with some of the members. They gave him spiritual strength. They had ritual ceremonies where they would be, dog and pony showing in front of people, doing all their adult stuff together. They would have spiritual beings that would appear, but it was just kind of like, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain kind of stuff, where DeMambro would have, smoke and mirrors and projectors that really made people think that there was actual spiritual stuff going on, where he was just, pulling the Wizard of Oz on them. That not all he was doing, he was also out doing the weird, sexual behaviors. They would break up couples if they told them that they, didn't spiritually connect, and they would split the couples up and take people's wives as their own and do, group sex acts on them in front of the rest of the cult. They would take married wives, people that were married and split them up, take the wives. They would take single people, and things just kind of kept progressing and getting more and more extreme as it went on. This is just like a French news, like a magazine. These were actual photos inside of some of their rituals. I don't speak French, so I can't translate or read what is on here. But you can Google and find pictures like this. There's a ton of them. Stuff inside the cult, weird family things. Yeah, it was just, you had to look it up. It's crazy. Let's go back. I'm going to hold here for like 30 seconds. And if anyone has any questions or something they want to say up to this point, or I'm not an expert on this by any means, but I did read quite a bit and research it. So hang out for a second. I'm going to get a drink, give people time to catch up on the delay. the good stuff's coming. This has been kind of a history of them up to this point. And that is a picture of Luke Jarrett. It's just some random crap I found on Google. And this is DeMambro. I'd say 30 seconds is probably past. It's been time. No chat comments, questions, comments. So I will continue on, I suppose. They had about 500 members, is what was estimated to be like their maximum amount of members. That was in the late 80s. Things kept getting kind of weird. And 93, a couple of their members were arrested trying to purchase handguns. And I think it was in Canada where they were doing it. So it was kind of a big deal. It kind of put some bad press on them. People were second guessing, their membership in the group. People were leaving. I don't have any information in any of the slides here, but DeMambro's son like kind of caught him doing some weird stuff and like publicly talked bad about the organization and left, which stirred up a lot of problems because he was supposed to be like the prodigal son and take over, which caused trouble for some of the members because they were what they believed was falling apart and disappearing from them. I got sidetracked a little bit there. They were distancing themselves. Their financial contributor started backing out, and they started stockpiling weapons for what they called the end of the world. And so they left Canada and went back over to Switzerland at this point. It was Canada. I remembered that correctly. So the scandal with the handguns really kind of it took a big hit on it. And Tony DeToy, probably not DeToit, let's say DeToy, who he was a member, spoke out publicly against it really big. And at this point, this is when things get kind of serious here. The guy, Tony, his wife, and child were all murdered in their home. It's pretty grisly stuff. Police records show that the guy was stabbed 50 times. His wife was stabbed 4 times in the throat, 8 times in the back, and once in each breast. And their infant child was stabbed 6 times. His body was wrapped in a plastic bag, which was placed on a wooden stake. It is believed that DeMambro ordered the murder because he thought the child was the Antichrist that was described in the Bible, and he thinks that it was born to him, the member in the group, to try to prevent him from reaching his, spiritual awakening, from being his best. The Antichrist was put in his organization to keep him away from being God or Jesus reincarnated, whatever it was he thought he was. Yeah, they murdered a family, including a child, and that's just the beginning. It gets way crazier than this. The 2 guys, I can't even pronounce his name. I don't know why I can't remember it. But the 2 founders, they kept getting in fights and arguments. They couldn't agree on anything other than the world was going to end. They had to have a plan in place for it. And things went south really fast. So take another 30 seconds just to see if anything, chat, comments. I think it's given enough time for chat to catch up. So I will, yeah, go ahead and start back up here. October 4th and or 5th, I don't recall here though. Oh yeah, it's crazy. People are nuts. So in 1994, residents of these two towns that I cannot pronounce in Switzerland became aware that there were fires burning in the towns overnight. So the next morning, fires got put out. Everyone went and they looked. 53 members of this organization were dead inside of these buildings. Um, Initially, it was they thought it was a mass suicide. But once they got in and really started looking at these bodies, they were, people were suffocated, people were given sleeping pills and then shot. Um, I got some breakdowns in here. What is it? 2 people died of suffocation. 21 were administered sleeping pills and then being shot. According to a Time magazine article in 1994, some of the victims had as many as 8 bullet wounds just in their heads alone. 10 victims were found with plastic bags over their heads. There was evidence that there was struggles. So, you know, these probably weren't voluntary. You know, people dying voluntarily probably wasn't the case here. Um, the picture, it's kind of hard to see, I guess, with the chat window there, but that's an actual photo of inside of one of these houses where they found all the bodies. These are again actual photos. 2 of the buildings that were set on fire with people inside, people bringing the corpses out. Like, yeah, 50. Well, what did I say it was? 53 people as a member of this cult were killed, and that was after that family of 3 with the little kid. So that brings the cult death toll up to 56 at this point. That's not it. A year later, December 23rd, 95, another 16 members were found dead in a burned out building in the Swiss Alps. This time, the bodies were arranged in a star pattern with their feet towards the ashes of a fire. Among the dead were the wife and son of Jean Voinet, who I guess was a famous skiing person. They had a sunglass line, and just like the last time, the year prior, most of them had either been shot, stabbed, poisoned, something crazy along those lines. Two years after that, the cult took their final 5 lives in Quebec, Canada. The homes of, I cannot pronounce that name, who was another member of the group. 4 of the bodies were found in an upstairs bedroom arranged in the shape of a cross. The final body, which was the guy's mom, was on the couch in the living room. I think she had like a bag over her head. And unlike the previous murders and suicides, murders, whatever you want to call them, they let the children live on this one because the kids kind of like begged for their lives. So the family let them take sleeping pills and go out to the barn and fall asleep. And the family rigged the house up to burn, killed the family / themselves, burnt the house down while the kids slept out in the barn. Um, Wild. When it was all said and done, 74 people had died, generally by being shot, poisoned, stabbed, or burnt to death in a building. A alleged quote from one of the members is, "It is with unfathomable love, pure joy, and no regret that we leave this world. Men do not cry for our fate, but cry for your own." Seems to indicate that they were willingly given their lives up, but it's just like the evidence doesn't point to that being the case. It's they had to have been murdered. Like there's no way they were all willingly had that happen. And so then you're thinking, who was responsible for this? No one knows still today. Um, a guy who was a member, Tabachnik here, he was in one of the earlier cults that the guys were into. He was on some of the paperwork for the group here. Kind of a weird, you know, sideways connection. They thought he might have been involved. And they had a trial, and I'm looking at my notes here. In Canada, it looks like they had a trial, and all the evidence was pretty shaky against the guy, and he was let go. And there was a second trial somewhere else, and then once again, there really wasn't any evidence to link him to it, so he was let go. And yeah, still to this day, 20 whatever years later, no one knows exactly who did it. Everyone's pretty sure the two cult guys are the ones that ordered it to happen, but there's zero evidence to prove it. And that's my PowerPoint story about the cult of the Order of the Solar Temple. So if you want to learn more about them, you can look it up. There's like all kinds of stories and pictures and articles. Um, I've never even heard of this cult until I started looking this stuff up. There's the Branch Davidians, there's all kinds of them, but this one was one I just never even heard of. And there's been, multiple murders over multiple years. You figure this would be talked about more. So that's all, I suppose. Uh, Anybody have questions or want to make comments or tell me I'm a dumbass? I'm going to hang around for 30 more seconds to a minute, see what's being said. If you guys want, we can, close out the little presentation I made here. We can look at stuff on the web on it. We can look up specifics if anybody has any questions. Yeah. Um, you know, um, this is a PowerPoint presentation. I could email it to people if they were really that interested and wanted to see more of what I put together. I doubt it, but let's see. Yeah, the Ordre des Temples Solaires would be their French name. That's how I initially learned about it and started looking it up. And you kind of see some of the links I've clicked on. So, yeah, like I said, tons of pictures that are actually from inside. Yeah, they blurred out the kids' faces, which is a good thing. Yeah, these people they thought they were Knights Templars. So, Yeah, here's some of the victims in a newspaper clipping. At the time, I guess they called it a murder suicide. So, I guess I'm gonna call it a night on that. Uh, I kind of enjoyed doing this. It was interesting. It was different. Um, you know, maybe I'll piece some stuff together and do this like every weekend or something. You know, find a crazy weird cult or serial killer or weird occultist topic and put together some crummy looking PowerPoint and talk about it on YouTube. So if you guys have any ideas or topics or weird things you want me to look up and talk about on here, leave a comment and let me know. So with that, I suppose I will be shutting the stream off and getting out of here. So I clicked on the wrong one. So this is just a different little view. I guess I could use this to just kind of chat with you guys, and it'll show the chat itself bigger from here. So let me just demonstrate. If I can type, which I cannot today. Let's see, did that pop up? Kind of. Yeah, there we go. Let's move it up there. Whoa. Okay. So, yeah, enjoy the rest of your night, and maybe I will do this again next week. So,